Tassie is known to many as a home to world-class wilderness, fresh air and weird animals. It also has Australia's most polluted waterway. The Queen River is unable to support life. Runoff from a giant hole in the ground has turned the river into what the locals call pumpkin soup. This trip is part of my midlife adventure crisis. Me and my tin cup, I'm well aware I'm part of this world, where I set out to experience places adventure types don't tend to go. You want to come? It's a two-person. It's a two.
Go on your own.
On foot, then pack raft, I'll travel for 2 days, trying not to soak in too much of Australia's sickest river. I'm going to start and finish this trip at the confluence of the King and Queen rivers, where a visitor book nailed to a tree contains the observations of those who've been here. You got to see it to believe it. It's really beautiful. It's really pretty. The Black River and the Brown River, the King and the Queen. But I know it's a really sinister mix. Everyone should witness what happens when things go wrong. Well said, Sue and Daryl. This is from a 10-year-old. Please clean our future. Exclamation mark with a sad face and then a sun. I think a good opinion is based on complexity, and for me that means experiencing things. Then I've got to suit up and go and meet this river. I'm heading with my pack raft to the highest part of the watershed that causes all the badness. It actually turns out that the source of the problem is Glover Creek, which runs down the edge of the mine, gathering up all the runoff. That flows into the Queen River, and the Queen runs into the King River. Their confluence is where I'll finish. You couldn't get a more direct line down the Glover itself to a big bloody ghostly chimney. I could happily spend a day. This is a remarkable place to sit. Queenstown is a remarkable place. Mining can happen. Mining has to happen, I suppose, but not like this. We've got to learn our big lesson from this, if this is Australia's worst river. With environmental concerns growing, the Mount Lyell mine first closed in 1994 for remediation work, opening a year later and operating until the death of miners in 2014. It's been in caretaker mode ever since, no longer supporting jobs or producing metal. There's a real sense of optimism too as I sit here and I'm about to descend this perfect storm of a mine that over 140 years has done all the wrong things. It's exciting because I'm not really sure what will happen, what I'll see, what I'll experience, but more importantly, what I will think. I mean, what humans do is just remarkable, isn't it? You could look on this scene with a sense of awe in so many ways. It's as impressive as the natural mountain itself. It's almost as big as it. In 1 year, in the late 1800s, this one mine was responsible for as much GDP as the entire of Tasmania. Every apple, every beer, every bottle of whiskey, every bale of wool. There was a world famous mine 120 years ago, and they pushed it. So I'm going to take samples all the way along today, and I want to start by taking it in this dam at the very top of the watershed. Being able to detect DNA from the environment is groundbreaking stuff. No longer do folks have to trap animals, take photos or collect poo to find out what lives in and from this watershed. By the end of this adventure, Small cylinders trapping DNA are going to tell us if this river is as dead as Wikipedia tells me it is. It feels like it's kind of a natural watercourse here. It's as clear as day still. Then all of a sudden you're reminded that not quite as natural as it seems. The river of tyres. It's like the Earth's organs in a massive pile next to a water body. Since this mine opened, 1 million tonnes of copper, 750 tonnes of silver and 45 tonnes of gold have been extracted. That's a lot of good stuff that we don't often see running the world around us. Until the mine closed down in 1994, about 1.5 million tonnes of sulphuric tailings entered the river system each year. This 100 million tonnes have been deposited on the banks and the bed of the King River and in the delta where it enters Macquarie Harbour. You can see this from space. Since tailings are no longer directly dumped into the water bodies, the big problem now is runoff, called acid mine drainage. I think I can see a mitigation measure. They've made like an aqueduct above it to take the water, meaning that Glover Creek there is now dry because they've diverted water to this aqueduct. The water here is remarkably clear. I don't know if this is a modern step or not, but seems like a good idea. This is more like the Tassie we know of. I'm pleased to say this is a pretty wild little section that's growing back beautifully. So you can really see this system working now that they've tried to do. The water, the diversion water, is still really clear. But what we can see down there is Glover, and it has turned orange. So in the space of 500 metres, this is clear, that is not. Yeah, this is your moonscape. Humanity needs precious metals. They form the fabric of civilization, and we have to dig to get ourselves out of the crap and a reliance on fossil fuels. Wow, that's the base. I'm walking through a landscape that can't grow weeds after 80 years of sulphuric rain from smelting. I have never in my life travelled through that kind of landscape. This is very simple. We've made a monumental mistake. Maybe it's win-win. Maybe you crank this thing up again and you put so many layers of protection on the environment that it kind of increases or supercharges the fight back. I don't know. Jesus, I can see a big piece of orange. I'm not sure if that's the Glover. I'm actually really keen to get on the river proper, in a sense, to switch from land to water. I want to inflate the raft. I think I stink, but I think there's something going on with the river too, maybe. No, it's probably just me. See the orange in the filter? In many respects it's about the Queen, but in some ways it's about every river in the world we've stuffed up. We should not do that again. And for this river, we should put a truckload of money and human energy into fixing it. And so the little Glover Creek, flowing like pumpkin soup, completely and instantly turns the Queen River into Australia's sickest water. Rarely is the Queen rafted, usually too shallow and actually far more orange than today. But a heavy week of rain has diluted the flow, giving it just enough water to paddle. And so here we are in Queenstown, cute little town. It's very rare for me to stop in town and go and have a cup of tea and some lunch. Hey fellas.
How are you?
What are you doing?
I'm paddling down the Queen. I'm just having lunch.
We need a bit of water, mate.
Yeah, it's a bit low, it'll do the job. I'm just going to get a quick sanger and get down to the confluence.
How you going, Sean?
G'day. 2 vegetarian pasties.
Down the Queen River.
Yeah.
Oh, you know. Come
What do you reckon?
Come down home.
Have you seen many people paddle your river before?
No.
See ya. Bye. Bye. Finally enjoying myself again. This is good. In the sun. They're real nice ladies. She don't reckon anyone's ever paddled it. It's been here her whole life. She's witnessed it go from grey to orange. Out of towners, hey? Washing up on a raft and eating pasties and drinking ginger beer, then buggering off, judging the place as we leave. We can't help ourselves, comparing this town to the towns we've come from. The weather, the coffee, price of things. But I've got to say, I love the place. The wild west nature of things, the loose characters, the hills. Other than the state of the river, this is my kind of town. Arguably one of the friendliest bunch of people I've met in ages. Everyone's friendly.
Not that way yet, mate.
Not there yet? I imagine it's a town that everyone knows everyone. You don't get away with much in a town like this. That's pretty good for the river in the future. Because if you get the locals on board, that's your strongest lobby group. Shit. You know what? Being on a river without a paddle isn't as shit as it's made out to be. No, it means you have to think about what you're doing. Problem solving instead of problem seeing. Adventure takes over and my old mate optimism makes a return. Can't let go of your paddle, Beau. Bit shallow, I got, I rubbed my bum along a lot of the rocks. Be nice to see what the sort of difference is between this famous orange river and then relatively healthy rivers that come in or creeks that come into it from all other places. I'll be damned, the train just went past. It's cool. I keep getting asked, mainly by Mum, which is fair enough given she spent years making sure I was healthy. Why the hell search out adventures in places that might make you sick? It's a good point, Mum. Why not head to healthy and vibrant rivers in Tassie? There's plenty of them. I'm here because it's a little harder to convince myself to be here, which challenges what an adventure landscape looks like. It's as if the premise of the story interests me as much as the physical task itself. I actually have a hard time pinning down if I like what I'm doing. What does being here mean for the river? How beautiful, the old train station. I know where I'll be sleeping tonight. Oh, golly. I think the river will rise a bit tonight too, and I'm not too fussed about that. That's a good thing. I love sleeping in joints like this. I love it. I don't know whether anyone slept in this little Mount Lyell Mine and Railway Co. Ltd shack. Near a dog. That's bad. You never want to alert dogs. Dogs alert their owners, the owners sniff around and they realise someone's sleeping in a train station. Oh yeah, leftover curry. Mmm. Look at those. Good choppers. Doing my teeth before going to bed at 7:30 at night. I've got a drip right next to my head. It's about a foot away. I can live with that. My dentist says, pretend you're brushing the skin of a tomato. You don't want to push too hard and ruin the tomato. It's good advice. Most days, regardless of what happened the day before, I wake up as a bloke who can't wait to get into the day. Alright, here we go, day 2. Nice little rapid to start the morning off. There we go, nice little roll. Today the Queen had changed her stride, as if I'd been holding hands with a walker who's decided to run. As I headed towards the confluence where I'll finish, I wondered if my mood would take on the river's new urgency, where you become a paddler first and a thinker second, which in the past has often meant you're a little more immediate with your thoughts and actions and more oblivious to the world around you. The deal with these is that you stop plunging water through when you can no longer do it, and I'm about to bust the plastic, which shows the turbidity of the water. I fear I've got a fair bit in me too, actually. Well, that's Tassie. She rains. You know, there were times in there, in that last 5 kilometres, where I had to remind myself that I'm here on a really sick piece of water. Because around me, it didn't look like that. It looked like the wild, famous Tasmania that has animals in it that nowhere else in the world live. Masses of rain and trees that are so exotic, and diversity that's off the charts. It's true, the landscape around me was alive. Animals of all shapes and sizes going about their business, shedding their unique DNA into the watershed. Yet from the samples taken, not a single DNA sequence was detected in the Queen River. Acidity had killed it, much like the fish and aquatic life that should be here. The tragedy of this river is that life abounds around it, but the water itself is unlivable. And that's a welcome ray of sunshine. Something a little unnerving about not knowing where I am in the world, but I've got to shut up to navigate through this. Righto, you got this, Bodie. Left and a right. I finally meet the river properly. Full immersion in a liquid world that can't support life. Well, I didn't have it. It turns out. So what do I say in the visitors book? I don't know, I could sit here and write an essay. The thing with experiencing rivers like this is that I'm not just seeing it on my skin and drip from my hands and my hat. My water bottle's been rolling around in the bottom of the raft and I can taste this river. I'm no expert in what bad rivers taste like, but I've tasted blood plenty enough. Bitten my tongue or had a cracked lip. This river tastes like blood. I'm told that blood tastes like metal, and so that makes sense. What do I write that this river tastes like blood? No, I didn't write that. Because as I sat at the confluence freezing my ass off, inspired and angry, it occurred to me that I might be onto something. Storytelling. Heck, sharing a story is all I have. Otherwise, I'm just a bearded paddler who's had himself an okay time on the sickest water in Australia.